Tonight, no campaigners feeling confident on the eve of the referendum. The Israeli military warns 1 million Gazans to relocate south. Police consider the use of extraordinary powers at this Sunday's pro-Palestinian rally in Sydney. A Senate report on feral horses calls for major changes to protect native wildlife. And the Aussies dropped the ball, suffering another big defeat at the Cricket World Cup. Good evening, Lydia Feng with ABC News. The final pitches are in and it's now over to the people. The historic vote on an Indigenous voice to Parliament will be held tomorrow. Nobody under the age of 42 has ever cast a ballot in a constitutional referendum before. Yes campaigners are still encouraging people to get behind the voice, while no campaigners are sounding confident they will succeed. Indigenous Affairs editor Bridget Brennan begins our coverage.
At an Aboriginal health clinic, Indigenous voters have cast their ballots in an historic referendum. Here in Melbourne, First Nations health workers are supporting the yes vote. And there's still hope for change.
When we look at what's coming through our doors and what our lived experience is, we cannot have more of the same because it's not working.
The biggest challenge for Wamba Wamba woman Corinda Taylor is getting politicians to commit to long-term funding for prevention programs.
They're looking for the low-hanging fruit, the short-term outcome, and we want long-term outcome. We want generational change.
In the final hours, no campaigners met voters on Sydney's North Shore. Warren Mundine cast his vote, confident the country will reject the referendum proposal.
We want to work with the Yes campaigners after this referendum and fix all the issues that need to be done with Aboriginal people who are struggling.
The Prime Minister has been criticised for proceeding to a vote without bipartisan support, but many community leaders say it was the right call.
I admire this Prime Minister for having the guts. It's almost political suicide to jump in and do it. But he did it, and I am so glad that they did it.
As millions of Australians turn out to cast their ballot tomorrow, many still undecided, some prominent members of the Yes campaign have conceded they're unlikely to be celebrating a win tomorrow night. Others are still clinging to a glimmer of hope.
For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, it is not done and dusted. The disadvantage will still be there on Sunday morning.
The Indigenous Australians Minister Linda Burney is still looking to sway the undecided.
We are asking, humbly and with enormous amounts of love, walk with us and vote yes.
Early voting centres have already opened.
I believe that the First Nations people of our country deserve to have a say in the decisions that we make.
We are just all one nation, and that's it.
Polling stations open tomorrow at 8 a.m, and the Australian Electoral Commission has reminded all enrolled voters that casting a ballot is compulsory. Bridget Brennan, ABC News.
Regardless of the outcome of the referendum, Australia will be writing a new chapter in the long struggle for Indigenous rights tomorrow. And the next steps could prove just as challenging. Here's referendum correspondent Dan Borsha.
The question Australians will vote on the ballot paper is a relatively simple one. The debate has been anything but simple. This has been a complicated and challenging year that has raised many issues for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and raised a lot of questions about what it means to be an Australian right now. Regardless of the outcome, whether it's a yes or a no, there are going to be very important processes that need to unfold from politicians to determine what are the next steps to deal with some of those intractable challenges that some Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people face in parts of our nation. In addition to that, there's going to be a bigger piece of work needed, and that's around soul-searching, truth-telling and healing to begin to deal with some of the issues that have arisen this year, some from the fringe, a vocal fringe who have been racist and bigoted and have aimed to make Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people feel like they don't belong in Australia. There is going to need to be a lot of healing, and all Australians will likely need to be a part of that.